everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm going to talk about a pretty potential risk-on market that might be building up in January. Why do I think that is? Well, to look at risk-on sentiment, look no further than two different index for ETFs here. The first one is going to be Russell 2000. And if you're looking at the Russell 2000, looking at the FIB level here from the cycle high to the cycle bottom, what are you going to see? Well, pretty bullish thing has happened actually. Looks like you are having a hard time bringing about the 0.86 over here for about 3 months. Was able to break through above, and guess what? Didn't really like it. Come back test almost right at the 0.76 over here, held, and right now we're hovering, trying to break about the 0.86. If we're able to break about the 0.86 here convincingly, if we actually end up having a little bit of a bullish kicker candle that just goes way up to the moon, or maybe at least a little bit inside candle here for January, and then February just end up pushing up higher, then I think we're talking about risk on. Because really ever since November of 2023, even really ever since like July of 2022, IWM has been making nothing but higher highs and higher lows, even though a lot of people are bearish on it. It went from like 150s all the way up to like 233. It's a bull trend, and this is actually where a lot of the risk on sentiment is at, because a lot of these companies are in debt. A lot of these companies are small cap. They're just in general, if these stocks are on, then you're talking about some of the crazy speculative stocks that can go up a lot higher. You're talking about like 20, 30, 40% days, and you already start to see like a glimpse of some of those already. And that really is giving you a little bit of potentially like a sneak peek in terms of what's going on, right? Am I bullish on the IWM overall based on cycle behavior? Heck yeah, I am, right? Because on a bull market, you had a bullish cross here in Tenkan Kijun, right? And on the bull market with the bullish cross, what happens after that is price rides up a rising Tenkan at the blue line, right? The last cycle was a little bit weird because it's all parabolic, kind of push up, right? But in general, you had a bullish cross here, and price just kind of ride up with the Tenkan up here after bullish cross for maybe like 2 or 3 years, right? Bullish cross, where was it even at, and it just kind of just keeps on, riding up here for years and years and years, right? So right now we had a bullish cross, and right now we have the Tenkan pushing price up as support. There's really nothing really that scary that I'm really sensing here, to be completely honest with you. Also looking at Bullish Band, upper Bullish Band continues to be expanding. Price looks like I just want to ride up the upper Bullish Band all the way up to maybe even like 300 and potentially even higher. That's what IWM really looks like it wanting to do. What it does usually is whenever it gets, whenever a bull cycle happens, it rides up the upper Bollinger Band. Whenever a cycle is over, it kind of back tests the 20 here a little bit, 20-month moving average a little bit, and it would break down underneath of that, right? Again, riding up upper Bollinger Band, come back down and break down or not, and then it usually goes down to a lower Bollinger Band, right? In this particular case, went down twice because of COVID. I think without COVID, I think it was naturally is probably going to end up going this way, but COVID threw that whole cycle off, and we end up just catching them in a big way here, right? But usually what happens is you break down, trying to get back tested at low Bollinger Band here, didn't really quite make it that time. Over here, 2022, back tested low Bollinger Band once and twice, right? Finding support, bounce a lot higher. I think we're still early. I think we've probably got another maybe like year or so to go. We'll see. But important thing is, I would really like to see IWM to really truly break the 0.86 FIB level here. I really want to see that happening, and until it does, I'm just gonna kind of take a step back and see what happens. But a lot of things are telling me that could be happening. So another thing that's also telling you that risk on sentiment is happening is ARK Fund. Remember how much hate the ARK Fund gets, how much hate the Cathie Wood was getting. She's still getting a lot of heat for sure, but overall, ever since December 2022, this thing's been making nothing but higher highs and higher lows, right? And right now what's happening, we reclaim the 0.382 here. In November candle really pushed it above. The December candle kind of trying to back test it to really break down underneath the 0.382. And so far, in January, you back test the 0.382 and you held, right? So it opens up the idea of potentially hit some of the higher levels up here above. And whenever ARK Fund, if it ends up going from like 50s to the 80s, a lot of the underlying stocks, a lot of the really, really speculative stuff is going to fly, right? If you're looking at the Bollinger Band here, you can also see how it's just been waiting for a Bollinger Band to expand, and you're expanding. Price is riding up a Bollinger Band on the way up, right? 20-month moving average is crawling up. This is extremely bullish. This basically means that this market is going through some risk-on sentiment that's building up really, really well. And I think January is potentially a pretty decent month moving forward. Now, granted, price is a little bit outside the upper Bollinger Band here. We'll see how it works out, but overall, it just seems like it's a little bit of a risk-on kind of sentiment here going on. A lot of people worry about rates. I'm not really worried about rates. I don't really care about rates. You know, they talk about the Fed's funds rate. You know, that's lags behind everything anyway. You really talk about real rates. You look at 2-year. 2-year has been plummeted, right? You have a little bit of a lower high here. Really couldn't break above this horizontal zone over here. Looks like it wants to go down a lot higher. This is extremely weak look to the 2-year. The 20-month moving average has been negatively sloping now a little bit, right? I think it's going to get down lower. How much does it go? Well, once it gets rejected here to Tenkan, which it is being rejected here to Tenkan, it's probably going to go down to the Ichimoku cloud. You're talking about 2-year yield by mid-2025 or late 2025 to be anywhere from 3.4, 3.5, 3.3%. That's probably going to end up opening up a lot of liquidity conditions for speculative companies to make loans, right? Now, what do I mean by speculative companies, right? You're talking about stocks like FUBO. I'm just going to go right to the chase here. FUBO. Is FUBO a bullish stock now? We're still underneath the monthly Ichimoku cloud, but there's something that happened here today that has changed the long-term outlook for FUBO, which is it flipped the 20-month moving average from resistance here to support now. This big giant green candle has done that, right? And this is also happening in the context of on the weekly, it's actually still touching the upper Bollinger Band, which is a miracle. Like intraday came back down, back test about $3 range over here, bounced, right? And on the daily, it's also touching the upper Bollinger Band. So it's actually, if you ask me, like it has more room to go up because it's not really that overextended, just because it touched the Bollinger Band. This is insane, right? Am I going to get into FUBO? Heck no, I'm not going to get into FUBO. It's just made like a big giant move up today. It could keep going up higher, but this is going to be an extremely volatile stock. It's going to be an extremely volatile stock moving forward. I would not be surprised even if price goes back down to like $3, $2.50. Like none of that would surprise me. I would also not be surprised it just keeps on going boom, 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 go up. I'm going to leave this one alone, guys. I want to sleep well at night, and this is not something I want to chase just because of how it looks on weekly and daily. But I think that over the next 6 to 12 months, FUBO is probably going to do excellent. Right? If you're able to sit out the volatility, I think FUBO is going to do excellent. I'm not, so I'm out. Another stock that looks like it's doing a little bit better, that is highly speculative, is Unity. Unity, their earnings really, I've been just very, very disappointed with their earnings. They have like a new CEO. It's just a mess, right? I gotta say right now it's still not necessarily favorable, although it's re-challenging the 20-month moving average. The 20-month moving average is turning flat here. I can see Unity potentially having one of those like big moments where you just have a green candle like that, push about this horizontal resistance zone over here where it's been getting rejected, right? You basically broke down this horizontal zone and used it as flipping from support here to resistance, right? But the 20-month moving average is no longer negative sloping as much. I think that you actually have a good chance to break above, and Unity could potentially go up a lot higher. It's a watch list kind of thing. I would not get into it. One thing that I am getting into is QS. QS so far, it's been doing this over and over again. It's been challenging the 20-month moving average as negative sloping here. Rejected because it's negative sloping, right? But so far it's turning flat, and so far we're trying to reclaim that here. Looks like this could potentially be it. I don't want to jinx it. I'm accumulating this slowly. We'll see how it goes. But QS is also another one, right? You even talking about like crazy stocks like Open Door. Open Door 20-month moving average is now flat. Because of that, it's also vulnerable for attack with potentially some short squeezing and push back above and break the 20-month moving average. I'm not advocating to buy Open Door because it's still falling knife, but this looks just like how SoFi looked before a breakout. So I'm not gonna like bet it. I'm not gonna bet against it. I just think that there are a lot of these kind of stocks that are just looking pretty decent. Rivian is looking okay. Rivian is actually looking pretty decent because it's trying to reclaim the 20-month moving average, right? It's turning from negative sloping to positive sloping here. It might have a chance to challenge it. I would like to see it making a higher high. I like to see it breaking about like 18, 19 to make a higher high here to really solidify a trend change here because it just made a higher low, right? And I don't know whether or not it has enough volume this month so far. From December to from November to December is on declining volume, but I don't know, man. I mean, this looks a potentially pretty decent setup here. I'm gonna probably not get into Rivian, but it's on my watch list. I gotta say, it's on my watch list. Even Lucid is looking better. Lucid last month in December had a big giant green buying candle, right? You got a morning star look to it over here. This is technically favorable for it to at least go up to the 20-month moving average. It's still negative sloping, so I wouldn't buy Lucid, but it's probably going to get rejected around $4, right? I don't know whether or not I want to get into something like this. Usually, at least look to see the 20-month moving average starting flat, right, before I would feel trusting for a stock before I really want to get into it. But even Lucid is looking better based on volume and based on the fact that it's finally trying to challenge the 20-month moving average. Again, I'm not getting into this. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here. Now, am I going to get into something like Plug Power? The answer is no. I'm not going to get into something like Plug Power because the 20-month moving average is still very negative sloping, curling down. But with that said, that could be a potentially great trade here from like $3 over to like 4.5 just to retrace it back to the mean, right? That's a big giant gain, which is why Plug Power ended up pushing up so far in a monthly candle here about 50%. But it's been going down like hundreds of percent before you ever have a candle like this. So I'm a little bit skeptical on something like this. If I get into it, it'll be for a trade, and I have a clear trade profit-taking zone here. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a trader, and I don't really feel like investing in Plug Power. But I cannot deny that there could be some pretty significant push up. You just have to understand that even if these stocks move 20, 30, 40% consecutively day after day, you can still be hitting some really major resistance, and they might still not be potentially, investments at all. But they could be great trading strategy until otherwise noticed, right? So far, I would say out of those that I showed you, I think FUBO is paving the way here, right? And that really is telling you a lot. Anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts on these stocks that are more speculative because I'm finally seeing that things are changing for at least like a third of these stocks. Maybe for the better, maybe for a little bit more sustainable shift. I don't know. But it's looking like something might be happening here in January. We'll see. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Bye.